one
It's
episode.
gonna say live. It's not really.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine.
It's going to say live, and it does. And that means, LukaNation, as you guys are tuning in for another episode of our 10 for 10 segment, which has been so far an overwhelming success. We love the comments that you guys are giving us. We love that you guys listening have been a part of selecting the guests. And one of the guests that you've selected, I mean, when I made the post just a week ago, Black Jaded Wolf was tagged maybe 15 times. She's come pretty highly requested. And, I've met her before. I met her at National. I don't know if you know this. We met just accidentally at last year's Westchester show, which was my favorite show. We'll get into that.
Okay.
But today, LukaNation, we have an awesome, awesome guest, and it's Black Jaded Wolf. So welcome to the show. It's really, really good to have you.
It's a pleasure. Obviously, I don't do a lot of podcasts, but I've been watching you guys, and you guys are doing well. So I appreciate the invite.
Well, I'll tell you why I'm excited. And I can't say I'm excited about every one of these. Oh, this is my favorite one. This is my whole deal. But I really do have some enthusiasm about this one because part of the idea for 10 for 10 was to talk to folks about their experience at the National. And while we had Ken Golden on, we had, Coffee Breaker, Dan Fleischman on, and we had, PWCC on. You are a dealer. You're a car dealer here, and you had a table, and you were behind the table, and that is, while Coffee Breaker had a table, and people had booths and stuff like that. Like, you can give us kind of like the nitty gritty, the down and dirty of what it was like this year at the National to have a table. What kind of deal flow there was? Did you see more cards, crazy cards, less cards? Were there more people coming up with slabs than ever before at other shows? I mean, that kind of stuff. That that's like the real meat and potatoes of it. That's kind of what I want to hear. So I'm really excited.
It's it's surprising because those are big names that you're throwing out.
Yep.
I've been in this hobby, but I don't think I could compare to those guys. Like you said, I am a dealer only, but but I appreciate the word.
Only a dealer. That's like Secretariat saying I'm just a horse. But so what's funny about that is, I mean, so let's just start there. How'd you get into the hobby?
I love sports. I used to coach, assistant coach in baseball teams and all that stuff when I was in college. I've been a Michael Jordan fan since the Bulls era, and I remember in class I used to carry this small portable TV behind during class and watching it live. The teacher took it, but gave it back to me at the end. So basically during college I got my first paycheck, and then every paycheck I started opening wax basically around the corner store. And then I work in Diamond District for almost 5-10 years for wholesaling, so I kind of know about retail and distribution and all that stuff. So I debated on opening a store but for jewelry, but I went, and then I got hooked into sports card, and then next thing I know I have a lot of sports card accumulated. And then I Googled where can I find a local show, which is the New York shows, White Plains shows. And then I met a dealer who decided to give me one showcase. And next thing you know, after a few years, I expanded one of the big dealers in White Plains, and he's not in the hobby anymore. So that's my humble beginning.
No, that's awesome. And I mean, so I'll take it sideways and I'll let Andrew, he's the questioner. But do you remember when you got your first paycheck and when you started making money and you said, I'm going to start ripping wax at the corner store, wherever it was? Do you remember what you were ripping? What sport, what brand, what kind of cards? Do you remember what you like to open?
I rip basketball a lot. I love basketball. I don't know if you know, Philippines is like a pop culture country. They love their basketball. I mean, every kid there want to play basketball, even though we're like below 6 foot and really short. Mm-hmm. But we love our basketball. We love Kobe, Jordan, all those guys. And we follow the sneaker, that those athletes wear and all that stuff. So, yeah, I started with basketball, but my biggest hit was probably like I fell in love with autographs. So that was the era when I started, when autograph was just starting. And that's kind of my niche. Mm-hmm.
Do I call you Black Jaded Wolf for the whole episode? What are your Sheryn? I mean, I didn't expect you to go there, but when I got a chance to live in Bali, and I know that's not the Philippines, but I got a chance to live in Southeast Asia, mm-hmm. It blew me away how much they love basketball. Like, you would think it would be like soccer, mm-hmm. I guess cricket, but I would put it up there that basketball is their most favorite sport. Maybe soccer still exceeds that, but basketball is their favorite sport, and they love, like you said,
Yeah,
Kobe. They love,
not really. Basketball is really their sport there. It's not
and
even
it's
close. I mean, soccer, there's no cricket really, but some baseball, but it's really basketball because you don't need to organize. You could just hang out with some friends in the park, and there's hoops everywhere. So that's became the mainstream in the Philippines. Mhm.
we always hear this, but I don't know if it's true because I mean, and maybe you'll tell me. Southeast Asia, are they really getting into card collecting as well? Do you know?
It's been, I mean, even before this boom, they've been a lot of the market actually, and the money is getting funded there. People don't know that. I have customers from even 20 years ago that started buying, and they really collect it. They keep it. I mean, I think almost 60% of the high end Kobe limited logos, all those rare stuff are in Asia right now. I mean, I remember a friend of mine attended like a small show, I think in Hong Kong, and every showcase is like now 50,000 to $100,000 card. I mean, you don't even see cheap cards in their showcase, and there's like 10 tables only. It's amazing what's how much good sports card, modern sports cards are in Asia.
Makes sense. More people. I guess we were just
Mhm.
curious. Even though does the more people translate into more collectors?
Yeah.
And it sounds like it does.
Hmm.
So we're not calling you Black Jaded Wolf. Where's Black Jaded Wolf come from? Tell everybody who's listening to the story. Where's that come from?
See, I love the mystique of it, but it's always
All right,
been
so
a
then let's
very
so then make
simple.
something up. You want me to make up the story? You
You
open
can
your
make up a
store the
story,
first
but I
day.
can
You were
tell
gonna
you the
call
truth.
it Sharon's Cards, but all of a sudden this wolf walked into the store. It was a black wolf, and it was a wolf that didn't like cards. And you sat down and you talked to the wolf, and you said, "Hey, wolf, how come you don't like cards?" He said, "Well, I used to open a lot of cards in the '90s, and they all just are worthless now. I collected Drew Bledsoe, and I'm jaded. I'm jaded about the sport because
Oh,
all my
okay.
cards are worth nothing." So you met a Black Jaded Wolf and decided you're going to name the card store after Black Jaded Wolf. What do you think? Does that work, Andrew? No?
I'm not sure it's that believable, but we could work with that if that's what you want.
I think Sharon was losing the negotiations online, and she's like, "How do I create a more intimidating username so that no one wants to even negotiate prices?" And they never send me messages on eBay saying, "What's your lowest offer? What's the lowest price you'll accept for this?" So she put Black Jaded Wolf,
That
and
works.
That
now no
that might
one.
be a little bit more acceptable. But
That's it. Why? Wolves don't talk? Where your store
well,
is?
the
I
truth
mean,
is, I blame Google, but it's more Google. They asked me for my favorite color, favorite animal, and favorite stone.
You want to
there
hear
you
a fun
go.
fact?
Yes.
We just interviewed Carvin Chung, the
Mm-hmm.
creator of
Yep, I know
Exquisite.
Carvin. Mm-hmm.
His favorite color is black as well.
Oh, okay. I think a lot
Yeah.
of New Yorker or we dress as black. I mean, today I wore white just for the show. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. All right. I like it.
Mhm.
So talk about the
Cage
show,
is a
right?
purple wave, so
I
you have
am.
no competition
You're a
there.
purple wave. So let's talk about the show, right? So you set up a table. Is this your first time having a booth there, or have you had it before?
Oh no, I've been doing this for almost 15 years,
Wow.
having a table nationals. But I used to split with a vintage guy,
Mhm.
and then he retired suddenly, and I have to start all over. But I'm like priority 8 by myself, basically.
Okay. So you're moving up the ranks. You had a good table. You weren't in the back with all the newcomers this year. You were you had a good table. So talk to me about any difference. Has been a slow and steady growth over those 15 years? Have there been peaks and valleys? How does this show rank compared to some other ones you've been to?
Today's this show is by far not even close to any show that I have experienced, obviously. Um, but every year, even if you talk to my account, every year is better than the last year. But there were some when the stock market was falling off a little.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I was in the national and the stock market fell 500 point Nasdaq, and it was like 2 minutes, and then people bought again. So I just got the news. Some customer told me, it's like, oh, the Nasdaq just dropped 500 points, and then, oh, and how much is that again? So I think people have a tendency to separate it. I always tell people, you got to have excess money. You can't rely your paycheck and do this hobby. So, but this year it was amazing. I mean, people are buying, trading, everything. I mean, selling. There are obviously people who wants to kind of take advantage of the market and sell. There was a lot of buying also. So
Were you buying as well, or were you mostly selling? A lot of the
um,
dealers had this buying sign, but
yeah, I mean, we all do, but I have a 6-man crew during nationals. So in the beginning, I like to sell a little first, get the flow going, and then next thing you know, Saturday, Friday, my team is starting to like tap me, like we need to take a step back on buying because I've been buying a lot. And the funny part is Saturday and Sundays is the best buying days because dealers that didn't do so well want to like take their stuff and just want to move and liquidate and get some cash to go home with. So.
it might be a stupid question, but like a 6-man crew, do they bring their own cars and they sell them? Are you paying them? Are they all under the Black Jaded Wolf umbrella? I'm curious from just like a business standpoint, because
Mm-hmm.
a lot of our people that are listening to this, some are new to the hobby, some are
Mm-hmm.
dealers, some are new to the hobby and might want to be a dealer in a few years.
Mm-hmm.
Share with them how you kind of structure your team, if you don't mind.
So I have a mixture of people that I trust, but most of them are under my payroll basically. But there are people that are like friends of mine that's gonna be there. I get them a pass to get in for the whole week. I don't pay them, but every other thing is my expenses, food, everything.
Nice.
Lunch, everything is my expenses. I give them a little if I do well during nationals. A couple of them are like that. I give them a few space on my table, but it's mostly 95% is all mine and my crew. And I kind of structure like you could buy if I turn down those deals, but it's mostly everything that comes into my table is I get first shot basically.
What was the coolest
Okay.
thing that walked up to your table? What was the coolest card that somebody showed? Whether you bought it or not, what was something you were like, oh wow, you don't see these every day?
So people don't know. I know everything is like so pricey right now. My thing is getting ahead of people. You know, I love to spend around 5 to 20K cards.
Mm-hmm.
I bought some rare Jordans. Those are my focus this show, and some Josh Allen's, not not national treasure, but some rare low numbered, low pop that you pay 7,000 right now. If he gets hot during the season, it could get to like 30,000. Those are my and which I accomplished. I picked up some really cool Josh Allen immaculate low pop. And I picked up a really nice Jordan on card number 1 of 10 gem. It's like a buyback card, but it's super rare. So
Nice.
So there's this and I wouldn't ask you this if I didn't think you had the answer. So I'm going to bring this up and you tell me how you view it, okay? We've talked with Cage about this and we've coined it the Trae Young effect.
mm-hmm.
And I'm curious because when I think of someone like Josh Allen, to me Josh Allen is someone again that's going to fall into the category of the Trae Young effect.
Mm-hmm.
He had a good year last year.
Mm-hmm.
His cards are already near record highs. So what would it take performance-wise for him for that card to double or even go up, 50%? Where the downside is so high. If we look at Trae Young,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people bought him before season. His silver Prism PSA 10 was $3,500. We fast forward, upsets, made the playoffs, made the Eastern Conference Finals, and that silver was 40 to 50% of the value. So I'm curious, education-wise, I always look at that stuff. It's curious.
Mm-hmm.
What do you make of that? Do you see the same thing with Josh Allen?
Okay,
Obviously
so
not, but
basically, I kind of pride myself. I study a lot. I read a lot of reports. I listen to a lot of experts. I don't consider myself expert, but I read a lot and follow certain experts. I think his line improved a lot, and to me, that's very huge. And even Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes is one guy that I'm also buying this national because I think even though if you think Josh Allen is max out, I don't think he's even close. Because if he's not even 50% of what Mahomes is at, and he could have that type of year with the tools he have with this team, and I know he's in Buffalo. He doesn't fall in the New York area. Well, I mean, it is New York, but Buffalo is one of those franchises that actually have a strong following.
yep.
They would spend money if they win or they could get close to winning. And I think it's a strong market, and I think Josh Allen is not even there. He's only right now around 30% of what Mahomes is worth. I'm not hoping he gets a Mahomes number, but I'm hoping he gets a half of what Mahomes number is. If he puts up, let's say, a 4-game winning streak, people are like, oh, if they win MVP or if they win the championship, winning streak is so huge at the beginning of the season in football. If any quarterback could string 4 or 5 winning streak, you got to sell some of those cards because that's probably the hottest, sometimes even hotter than getting into the playoff quarterbacks. So
think about this. There's the exit strategies involved, right?
Mhm.
It's not.
Yep.
It's not because I'm going to say, hey, you can't bet on Mahomes to win the Super Bowl. You can't bet on Allen to win the Super Bowl. You can't Lamar Jackson. You can't have Justin
Mhm.
Herbert. You can't have all that stuff to win the Super Bowl. I'll do it. I was waiting to see, what happened back there. What are you doing?
I was trying to be inconspicuous,
You
man.
killed
I was
it,
like,
man.
is there another show going on there?
What's going on over here? Open that back up. So, but you're not betting on them all because they can't all win the Super Bowl. Now they're gone. Well, come on. You can't all win the Super Bowl, but you're not saying win the Super Bowl. You're saying, hey, you start off the season hot, go 3-1, go 4-0. Maybe in week 4, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, and all of a sudden people are talking about how Josh Allen is a front runner for the MVP, and boom, you sell it then. Your exit is there. All right.
Yep.
Well, I mean, it's important. It's important. You have to have an entry and an exit strategy on it because, I mean, if you think Mahomes is 3 times the player Josh Allen is, or twice the player, ultimately Mahomes is going to beat him and knock him out of the playoffs. So,
Exactly. That's why I'm a little scared of Herbert, to be honest with you. They play in the same division. Herbert is more than Josh Allen. Herbert, and I'm not as confident on Herbert. I have a lot of Herbert, to be honest with you. I have more Herbert than I have close to like 200,000 in Herbert, and I'm a little scared of Herbert.
Well, he's got a cool name, and he played in Oregon. And even though Ken Golden didn't seem to like Oregon, I do. They have a good college program, and,
But there's something about him that the collectors like, so it must be that.
I like ducks. I mean, they're not as cool as. I mean, it wouldn't work if you had black jaded duck. Like that, I don't think would go as well.
I'm not sure
Black
that would
Jaded Wolf.
work either,
Yeah, that
but-
wouldn't work. But listen, you got enough Justin Herbert. We're rocking and rolling. So any of those guys present? So you saw you had a Jordan come up to your table. Anything else crazy? Anything else? Like we were standing by a table once, and somebody walked up with a Patrick Mahomes 101. I think it was a Shield National Treasure, and a Brady 9.5 Chrome Refractor, and that was like the little card.
Oh
like,
yeah,
what the
definitely. No, so a
hell?
lot of people walked in with those type of stuff, but they also just want to show it off. They don't
Right.
really have a number, I mean, there's tons of like baseball superfractors that came by, a lot of big stuff that people are also asking scary numbers. It's
Right.
like, 150,000 for a baseball player. That's not. See, I'm a little scared of baseball. I started in collecting baseball and prospecting, but it got to a point that it's you're almost guaranteed to lose money if you start banking on. Let's say I tell my customer buy the top 10 guys, but now the top 10 guys when they come out like Bowman Chrome, it's ridiculous. It's almost 20,000, and then it's better to wait 2 months after, and then they drop to like 50% off. So I still do it, but it's just a scarier market right now.
That's a great point because, Cage, we were talking about this with Wander Franco. He came out, hit a home run his first game, amazing first 2 games. Then he struggled, whatever that means. And his cards are, I mean, you gave that as a play a week ago or 2, where you're like, this doesn't make sense. So baseball's a really interesting sport. And then you play into the consideration, how well does baseball market their players and things like that. We're going to get into Bleecker and talk about Women of the Hobby because that's going to be an awesome event. I actually have something to tell you because we had Mark Zablo on from Bleecker yesterday.
Okay, cool.
And we talked about Diamond District. 2 specific questions, and this is to both you and Cage. How many 1-of-1s can you make of a player, right? So, like, Patrick Mahomes has 3 1-of-1 cards. That, by definition, isn't a 1-of-1. That's a 1-of-3. So, like, you're a dealer. You see all these cards. How do you interpret that? What do you make of that?
I always tell customer this. You stick with. There's only, like you said, a couple of true 1-of-1s that I will collect. Obviously Contenders, one of them. National Treasures, one of them. Prism 1-of-1. Those are the 3 1-of-1 that will hold value. But the rest of them, like XR in football, I mean, there's so many 1-of-1s. Certified. I wouldn't count those as anywhere near. I wouldn't even hold them. If I pulled them, let's say I pulled a Trevor Lawrence, it's gonna be gone because there's just a lot more good stuff coming out later. So,
but even like Prism 101, we have the Nebula, we have the Black. I think there's
I like
a third.
the Black and the Nebula. Basically, that's the 2 1-of-1 that I respect.
What do you think? You own a Luka black gold, which is my
Yes.
favorite parallel. But some people love out of 10 gold more than the black gold, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you've
Um,
seen?
it's really hard to compare because they say it because they don't have it. But if they have it, believe me, you'll get more respect. I mean, if you look at any black gold right now, it's going for more than gold. A second year Tatum black gold went for more than the gold. People love the black gold more, but it's just there's only five. So it's hard to kind of put up the value that where it's supposed to be at. It's not one of one, but it's one of those. I don't want to say that it kind of sounds negative for the hobby, but the things that are manipulated in this hobby are the one that has a lot of volume. So to me, the black goals is one of those cards that you just don't see. I mean, I could name all the guys that have them, and I know where they are at. you know, I think there's still one missing or in some box somewhere. But all those guys that bought them are not in a rush to move them. They would rather sell their gold than their black gold.
Did you you mentioned you ripped wax. Did you rip any amazing cards in your day?
Whip
Did
it
you whip?
good.
I thought you were gonna let me
Lucky
slide.
the past
Or
few
did you
years.
nay?
I've been lucky a few times, but I rip a lot of wax. I join a lot of breaks, but it's really I kind of
Is it
look at numbers too. I'm like a chart person. I look at numbers. What's a good product to open? Because I open it, count it as for my business. So now to get rookies, you have to join, some breaks. But there are breaks. The best card I pulled is a contender gold Luka optic autograph. It was a redemption, and it was recorded by the store owner, and that's the best card I pulled. And I think I still have the card too.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Let's shift gears. Let's talk a little bit about women of the hobby. And
Mm-hmm.
something Zablo talked about yesterday was creating kind of like a murderer's row, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's about like. Go ahead. You need to take that
Sorry.
call.
Yeah.
That might be a six-figure buyer.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'll ask Cage and I'll ask you again.
Might be somebody, somebody calling up, looking for I don't know, like a Kobe or a Jordan. You see a wall of cards back there. That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
it says grading by Black Jaded Wolf. I gotta be honest, Cage. Logo's kind of fire, no?
Yeah, with the wolf, it's pretty cool, man. Like I try to picture it with a duck, it just wouldn't be as cool. Or if it was like a yellow Jaded Wolf, that wouldn't be as cool either. Like the
Sorry about that.
No
All good?
problem.
Tell us about Women of the Hobby Night, if you
Yes.
don't mind. If you could give us a little bit of a preview, what spurred that kind of that collaboration with Bleecker, and then we'll go from there.
So basically, there's two sides to it. I've been getting interviewed a lot for Women of the Hobby because for the longest time, I'm like maybe two women that in the show circuit, been doing it for years, So I've kind of been shoving the face of kind of Woman of the Hobby, which I take pleasure. I kind of, it's a humble thing. I do accept it. And because of that, maybe 6 months ago, I started this chat group for adding women in Instagram, and we formed this chat group. And then we kind of met up in doing nationals and all that stuff. And then with Bleecker, I've been attending Bleecker Trade Night since the beginning. I've seen Cage there, I think I saw him the first one. I think he's always been there. But,
I live there.
So
I sleep in the backyard.
so basically, and I know Mark a lot. I know Mark very well, since how he got started and all that stuff. So basically, they respect me. I mean, because I'm old maybe, but so they just wanted to spotlight me basically. And there's a lot of young girls in the hobby that's starting to go to shows, and I think they've always been there, but they're shy, and now they're starting to be like more open about it.
It's awesome. I mean, listen, that's it's more than half of the population. We're always talking about expanding the hobby to Asia or expanding it to this market or the F1 market or soccer. But, I mean, last I checked, there's more women than men here in the country. Let's go, talk about expanding the hobby. That's a huge expansion that we have to do. So, I mean, I'm happy to stop by. I'm happy to, be there. Happy to, trade. I don't know. You tell me what to bring. I'll bring some fun stuff.
Yeah.
And
I've been lucky. I mean, even Bleecker, there's a few supporters out there that sent some stuff for the trade night tomorrow for some free giveaway. We're doing some free giveaway too. And I know one of my customer, Jeff Jeff Cards. He's giving a full set of the first season Prism for WNBA to whoever's coming, and I
Great.
invited some female friends that are coming that's kind of want to invest in the hobby. So one of my best friend is actually coming. So we've been talking about helping her invest in the hobby too. So it'll be like her first introduction tomorrow.
Why do you think women traditionally weren't as interested in the hobby?
First, I think they can't relate to it, to be honest with you. I mean, it's mostly, I know you love Kobe, you love Jordan, but, all the friends I have, they played sports during college.
Right.
But to not see, I mean, I love Cynthia Cooper, but there's really not a lot of cards that you could find Cynthia Cooper.
I'm a
you know?
huge Mia Hamm fan.
Oh, see, I love Mia Hamm, and you know what? I mean, recently her autograph have sold a lot, but before you could get them for like $20-$30. So, and you only see them every 4 years unless you go to, I don't know, obscure game that you don't even know. So soccer just started, actually been here, women's soccer for like almost 8 years, but nobody pays attention to it. So I think it's starting though, and some of them, it's like when I started collecting, my mom is like, why are you doing that? Why are you collecting sports cards? It's like I told them, I'm gonna turn this into my full-time business. Oh my god, my parents went crazy. So I came from a structured, my dad is a doctor, my mom is a nurse, like no, what are you talking about? But now they know I could buy a house, I could buy whatever I want, and they're happy that I could, that sports card could sustain it.
Now your collection is more than a doctor might make in his whole life. And if we're even taking student loans into consideration, we're not even going to go that route. Did you ever have a shove it in their face type of thing? Like, I told you, Mom, I could do it.
No, I'm not brought up that way, but they know I could. So once in a while, I mean, so my nephew was helping me this weekend for the national, and obviously the black gold was there, and I have to name a price, and he heard it, and then he ran home, to my grandma's like, Auntie Sharon has $1 million card in his showcase.
Yeah.
So it's funny, and then my mom next day called me and like, can you buy this house, a vacation house in Philippines for me? And I'm like, and she wasn't joking. She sent me the pictures on my phone. So
There you go. There you go. That's it. Look what cards do. I mean, it's funny, right? So the show's changed, the hobby's changed, right? I mean, you have a store. Brick and mortar is, there have been some lean times in the last decade where people weren't buying. Are you moving now with the times? Are you breaking in the store? Are you obviously doing submissions in the store? How's it changed?
okay, so I opened. It's not a store. It's more like a hangout place, a office.
Nice.
Yeah, for like submissions, really. So I opened the second business, which is grading by Black Jaded Wolf. I'm not competing with other like PC sports card, but I do it for basically my good friends, my good customer that just want to submit with me. Make it easy. I do a free appraisal here in the store and kind of help people to like handle their submissions basically. So, and then because of that, I could also, during pandemic, I can't go to shows. So people that I sell a lot privately, and they could come here and in a safe place and you know meet up here.
You mentioned, so a lot of our audience, we get, about 1,000, 1,500 listens with this segment, this 10 for 10. It's gone up a lot because people love the guests. And I know they're going to love this episode as well. Seriously, like they tagged Ken Golden. They tagged a lot of people. They tagged you more than anyone else. You could go back and see that post. So people are really exciting for it. We have a lot of new people in the hobby. And you mentioned you read a lot. You do a lot of research. You look at charts. How do you know what to look at and what is noise?
Okay, so I read a lot of box scores. But I mean, October is like one of the worst months for me because I do single A, rookie ball, every box score, hockey, basketball, every sport you could think of. I read, I look at box score, but I also got lucky and I have like a photographic memory. So I also you learn through the years that are what are noise and what are important stats. A kid who has a bad swing, in baseball that strikes out a lot, just happened to have, 30 home run. It's not a guy to invest in. Guy that have bats for average 320 and have the 5 tools, those could be. And then what team do they play for? It's so important. It's like when to liquidate a guy that plays for the Yankee or the Red Sox, probably before they even come up. So it's, while the race, it's like, that's why I like Wander Franco. It just happened that he didn't start out well, but I think that franchise, you know but you could sell him also before he even get called up, because he's so high, and that's perfect. I sold half of my Wander Francos before he got called up, and now, so you're basically playing with house money now with whatever I have left. So you could look at it that way. And then for basketball, it's easier because the top 5 guys. I mean, obviously, I love Giannis, but Giannis was also wasn't a high pick, and I sold like 13 National Treasure already at that time. I had 3 of the 5 platinum that I was chasing for all 5. I sold them for $3,000 a piece. When I paid 1,000 each. So at that time, it was like, oh, this is quick money. But one just sold for I think 400,000. So it's a gamble we take. But I always told my customer, I'm more a broker. I'm not an investor. I build portfolio for customers. They always ask me, Sheryn, oh, should I buy Chris Bryan when Chris Bryan was super hot? No, buy somebody else. So you got to advise your customer. And I love it that when my customers now show me their portfolio and appraise it for them, it's like doing well, basically.
So you're a portfolio manager, but for sports cards, you're the BlackRock of sports cards.
You could say that, but
Black Jaded Wolf.
Black Jaded Wolf, yes.
Not the Black Rock. That's awesome. I mean, it's great stuff, and you have that network of folks that are out there who are, who are doing the cards, and look to you as a resource. So, what do you see? What do you see going forward? What do you see changing? You see, we've seen, a peak in modern and a peak in modern base silver. The high pop stuff. What do you think is going to happen to that? Is that going to come back? Your Sotos and Acuñas in baseball, your Zions and Jaws and Lucas and Trays.
To me, it's a wheel. I mean, I dabble in everything. I cover a very wide range because, like you said, I'm like a manager. I open wax. I have like 3,000-4,000 cards right now, base numbered, that's not graded because it's not worth grading yet. With what PSA price is at. I'm also group sub for SGC. There's stuff that I need to move now, like soccer is hot. Some base stuff I send it to SGC and move them right now. But the market and the people that invested wrong with the base PSA 10s before and even silvers are trading up now. They're getting rid of those. They're correcting instead of leaving the hobby, which is very healthy sign for me during nationals. That they're trading up. They're willing to take a few, some loss. But they're trading up and getting better. They're getting smarter. The investors are getting smarter. So to me, that's very healthy for the hobby.
So what are they trading up to when they come to your table and they're looking to get rid of? Because there are people out there who are sitting there with a bunch of Lukas, a bunch of Trays, a bunch of Jaws and Zions. And what should they be trading up to when they have a stack of those?
My suggestion is a little bit different, but I noticed they're trading up to like more numbered color stuff, like in Prism. But if you notice, it's also hit a little wall now. Those low numbered Prism. I'm not talking about Mojo and really low numbered stuff. I'm talking about the 175. Blue ice, blue, red. People are like, it's not as rare as people think even. So, but the focus is, I'm telling my customer clientele at least, is like some low numbered autograph. And if you notice, autograph is trending back now in the hobby. And to me, that's always been my bread and butter. So I'm sticking to that, and if you notice, it's coming back again.
So let's have some fun. Rate our trades. So the last day at the show,
okay,
Cage and I we were walking around the show for 2 days, and we saw a lot of different dealers had Luka Silver Prism PSA 10s. A lot of silvers. Wow. Cage had one. I had one. So we decided to trade them. So I traded my Luka Silver for Anthony Davis 2012 Prism autograph in a Gem Mint Plus, Bradley Beal 2012 autograph in a PSA 10 Pop 9, and about $1,000 in cash, $700 in cash, plus some little tchotchkes here and there. Cage did the same thing, but he traded his Luka Silver for
$3,000 cash and a Travis Best metal PMG red.
Travis Best.
Who did better? Give us grades.
Because best is like an entry level. He's not like,
Yeah.
no, he's not Tim Duncan or he's not like McGrady. He's not like, but
Okay, I'm gonna give it a rate. So I like your trade, Goldberg, because, well, just because of
you
the
like autos.
Yes,
Yeah.
the autos, and not on that, you bought at low. Right now, basketball is what to buy right now because it's very low. But I like yours also, Cage, because cash is king in this hobby still.
Yep, I was trying to get more cash.
And-
Suspend it.
Well, hopefully you bought something good too with that. And the PMG is, if it's your collection, I always tell people it's not about the money. If PMG is what you want to keep and hold, it's never a good, never a bad idea. I mean, they just keep going up. So to me, both are good, but I will stick with my autograph, and I think
autos.
the
Sweet.
auto is where I'm leaning towards.
So I'm curious. So what do you make right now? Let's say I wanted to buy basketball, and I actually do. I want to buy LaMelo. I want to buy Edwards, Maxey.
Mhm.
This is such a weird year because towards the beginning or like the middle of that release, PSA shut down.
Mhm.
So I want to buy LaMelo base, right? They're
Mhm.
underpriced more than likely, but there's only
Mhm.
20 or 50 graded.
Yep. Mhm.
How do you invest in such an interesting year in modern basketball? What are you looking at in these next month or two?
All raw. Buy
And grade
raw
yourself?
and grade it yourself. Wait, be patient. The game here, people that make the most money are people that are patient. So to me, buy all raw. I mean, people are gonna ask. I mean, PSA 10 is low right now. You could buy them, but to me, it's not low enough to take the risk. Because to me, buying all raw is still the way to go. I mean, Luka year, when they all went crazy, the base were like 100, 200. I bought them for like $5 a piece. I bought like around 173 of them and graded patiently, 20 at a time. But that was before.
Around 173.
I'm around 173. Yeah.
Around. It's a pretty specific number to be around.
Well, no, because I'm like confused.
She has a good accountant.
A few more, 20 more, 30 more.
This is what you get with photographic memory.
Well, Cage, how it works is it was around 170, and then you know how every once in a while you find like
Yes.
I didn't know I put a Luka Silver as my bookmark.
I mean, where does Luka Mojo come from?
And I bought a big deal, and they threw in 5 more, and I'm like, okay.
It's amazing. It's great stuff. Well, so, I mean, listen, it's good to hear because, I mean, a lot of people, what we saw at the show was a lot of people going up to tables saying, hey, do you buy? And a lot of people saying no,
Mm-hmm.
even though they had a sign that said buying, right? Yeah. So if your takeaway from the show is that people were being smart about it, it wasn't that they were being turned away and leaving the hobby. It's that they are smart enough to take their base cards and try to color those up into something else, a little less liquid, a little more rare. That's a good sign, I think.
Yeah, very good sign, I think. And the thing is, it's all younger kids now, too. And what's special about our sport is our hobby is, you could watch your favorite player do well, and then their stock goes up. Your your investment goes up. No other thing could compare to that, I think. And and the sneaker is tied to that, too. So both market is hot, and I think we're in a healthy place.
What do you think of the Kaboom insert? What do you think of inserts, modern age inserts in general? Do you think those are going to have?
Did your research, but I love Kaboom. So.
I try to bring up topics that are interesting to you, the audience, and my co-hosts.
Yes, I love Kaboom.
Yeah.
I love it. It's the best insert that's ever created.
It too. So so the funny part is I could have come home with like 60,000 in trades the last day, and I decided to hold on to my Cristiano Ronaldo Gold Kaboom PSA 10.
There you go.
So I mean, the guy is still I went home and is still messaging me right now. I'm still thinking about it, but just to be safe, I send it to all the vault just so I don't touch it.
There you go.
But
the
I
old
love
vault.
Kaboom.
Cristiano Ronaldo, one of the best F1 drivers there are, right?
You're such a moron.
Okay.
I don't know how I did. Okay.
I didn't fall for that one.
What would you do? How would you be playing Messi's cards? Would you be buying? Would you be waiting? Would you be selling? What would you be doing with his cards?
If you got in at a good price and you want to upgrade them, time to sell, because he did take a huge bump right now, and I think that team is a super team. So I don't know how soccer fans will look into it. That's too easy. They basically have like the legend, probably the GOAT, and the current star, which Neymar is kind of slowing down a little, but Mbappe is like in Holland's the face of the new soccer era. So you could look at it that way, and I will sell some of the liquid stuff and then upgrade to like some better stuff.
Does it hurt Mbappe? Because now, best case scenario, who wins? They're just going to say Messi did it. Worst case
So-
scenario, they don't win, and his cards.
I spoke
Yeah.
to a soccer investor yesterday, and we did bring that up, and it could. But I also think Messi could be at the age of his career that he could be like the next LeBron. People underestimate his passing game. I think he's one of the better passer too out there, and he could be the best decoy right now. And I don't think he's looking to break records. He already broken almost all the records. I think this will be good for Mbappe in the long run.
All right.
It's interesting, It reminds me of Jordan going from the Bulls to the Wizards. That's how I see it. So that I've also seen Messi cards have gone to.
That was pretty
A
terrible.
What?
I know.
Oh.
Well,
Was that a bad noise?
No, us Jordan fans, we like to forget about the Wizards era.
But that's how is that different?
Well, he didn't go to a team that's I
mean-
think PSG is one of the team that's could win the next few years. Even
Yeah.
well, they're contending every year without Wizard wasn't
I mean,
contending.
if Mbappe was on the Wizards, he'd be their best basketball player when Jordan was over there. I mean, like it's not exactly the same.
Okay,
thing,
I'm not sure Kwame Brown wants to hear that, and I know he's into podcasts right now, but
Brown.
We're gonna have him. He's gonna be he's
Yeah.
gonna cap all for 10 for 10.
He's next.
oh, okay, that would be great.
No.
I'm curious. Let's do a little rapid fire.
Sure.
What was your favorite place to eat around Rosemont at the National? Was it? Well, I don't know if she eats steak. If Sheryn eats
That's
steak, so I
it.
don't want to be
Alright.
presumptuous. So, what was your favorite steakhouse?
Capitol Grill,
I
Capitol
really
Grill.
like the
I'm not-
Capitol Grill. I didn't get to the Capitol Grill, but I got one like 2 blocks away from my house. Yeah, so I get
And
there all the
I
time.
love to bring my friends to Fogo de Chao just because it's nice for a group people. Yes, I love Brazilian steak. But
Wait, how did we not hit that, Andrew? What the hell is
Yeah.
that? Come on,
So-
little Brazilian
Why
steakhouse. You know how much damage I could do at a Brazilian steakhouse, man? Forget about it.
no.
Oh my
So
God.
one of my
Close that place
disappointments
down.
this national is you have to have reservation for every restaurant there. I have a group of 6 or 8 with friends, and we couldn't get any good reservation, But luckily, what's the restaurant? Gibson manager gave us a good a recommendation, an Italian family restaurant. The chef was really nice, so they accommodated us. And I told him to come to the show, and he did.
Look at you. So you mentioned alt, but is there any other business, any other content creator, breaker that you met at the show that you were like, I like? If I was buying a card, I would buy this person's card or this business's card.
Hours.
okay.
Great answer.
It's really tough right now because I'm not selling. They didn't pay me, but I'm a true believer of alt because I think they invested a lot. They invested right, and they're not shy, and they're willing to sacrifice some profit right now to build their platform. And to me, they also bring a different type of eyeball in their platform. Celebrities, investor, and they started with buying all the bigger cards in the hobby, So that's kind of like their first statement. But I do try a lot of platform. I work with MySlab. I work with Cardstock. I'm willing to listen to all the new platform. I'm willing to test it out. I'm in COMC, so I'm kind of like a manager. I not a single platform out there can do everything yet. So to me, if you're a investor right now, you need to maximize and know all the platform too. Which platform is best for what card? And to me, that's what I'm doing right now.
So here's what I take from this. What makes you different? And I'll leave it with a question, Andrew. You can take it home. But the question I'm going to ask you after I make this point here is, if you were going to give some advice, I'll give you a chance to think about it. Some advice to somebody coming into the hobby, somebody new in the hobby, whether it's man or woman who's looking to break into the hobby. Something you've learned from your experience over the years that you'd like to hand down to them so that they could be successful in the hobby. I'll tell you what I see just in my short time with you here. It's it's a human effect, right? It's you got to treat people well. It's the same thing as everything in life, right? Like treat somebody how you'd want to be treated as well, right? And just in spending 45 minutes with you now, you bring 6 people there to the show. You get them their passes, you're taking care of
Mm-hmm.
lunch, you're doing all that stuff.
Yep.
It's your friends, it's pals, you're doing it with friends. You made a place for people to hang out during COVID. You're doing intermediaries, deals with folks. You're basically a trusted source and resource for people. You even go as far as at the National, you try to find the dinner reservation, you walk into a restaurant, they tell you a place to go because obviously you treated them the right way, you were respectful, and then you wind up sitting down having a meal at a restaurant and telling this person, hey, come to the show, and they do. Right, so it's what I'm getting from you. It's different, right? Because a lot of people, this is a business, right? And people are like, hey, we got to make that money. Like let's go, let's make that money, move on to the next deal, and forget that what allows you to make that bigger deal in the future is how you've dealt with
Mm-hmm.
somebody on the way there. Those
Mm-hmm.
relationships you've built, the way that you handle yourself, and I can tell just from 45 minutes with you that you've probably built up a lot of collateral in the hobby based on how you've dealt with people, the respect that you've shown people. So that's my take, and thank you for that because we need more of that in the hobby. But
Mm-hmm.
now I'd love to hear from you. If you're given some advice, I hope I didn't steal your answer. It's like, treat people the way you'd want to be treated. But, to a young man or woman coming into
Mm-hmm.
the hobby looking to maybe make a go of it, what would you tell them?
Well, to be honest with you, that is the main answer. Because to me, how you want to be treated is, how you treat other people, to be honest with you. And everybody that I've dealt with, I've built like almost friendship from almost 15 to 20 years now, and they still sell to me to this day. I have customers that go to a show and don't sell to anyone but me, you know and I also go to a lot of house calls, and people don't understand. You screw somebody once, it's done with it. The
Right.
business is very, very transparent.
Yep.
Why would you burn your bridge? And to me, my rule is never, always build your bridges and not burn any. And to me, that's number one, which is your answer, just to want to elaborate a little. But second is being patient. Patient is so big in this hobby. I mean, all this panic selling, panic buying is, you have to put it aside. And sometimes, so one of my thing too is when I buy in the Nationals, I keep it, I put it aside, be patient. I don't need to flip it, and then whatever I don't think, I follow my gut and I watch what characters I should invest in too, not just about the money, so it's like LaMelo, and people are asking LaMelo or Anthony Edwards, to me they both have good family, upbringing. But to me, Anthony Edwards is very focused on, oh, if you pay me, I'll do it. To me, it's a good motivation for a little while. And same in this hobby. You could start with all about the money, but in the end of the day, you gotta follow your gut because there's too much to invest in. Do your research, know who you're investing in, and you go from there. And being patient is so important in this hobby.
Love it.
I mean, Cage, I think that's a great place to wrap because one of the things Cage, like, he invested in Devonte Graham, and a big part of that was how he spoke to about his family and about his mom.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So it's so interesting, like the little nuances that we as collectors look for, because there is like that emotional connection, right? It's like the values. Do their values align with my values? It's not just about the price of the card.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, tomorrow night, yes, this is going to air Monday night. Tomorrow night, Bleecker, 7 to 10 p.m. Bleecker Trading, Women of the Hobby Night. Did I say that right? Is it 7 to 10 or 6 to 9?
It's 6 to 9.
6 to 9 p.m. Bleecker, men, women, kids, adults, grandparents, whomever. Bring them to Bleecker. It's going to be an amazing time. It's going to be good vibes. Sharon's going to be there. Cage might show up. It's going to be tons of people. Thank you. We appreciate having you on the show.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.